Traveling in 2022. It has become such a hassle. It's not even fun anymore at this point. But traveling with teens has its advantages and disadvantages. In this video, I'm going to go over a couple of things that I learned since I traveled with my teens this summer. And for those of you who don't know me, my name is Valentina. Stay tuned and you're going to enjoy this. After COVID hit, it became so challenging to travel. Everyone was kind of in the not knowing stage, like, do we travel? Should we travel? Do we need to get vaccinated? Do we need this or that? Each country had their own rules. So thank God I waited 2 years into the pandemic before we decided to travel with my teens, because we were like more or less familiar with each country rules and regulations, and a lot of them lifted the restrictions, so it didn't become as much of a hassle. But still, there are so many things to be considered. So I urge you to always check rules of each country you're traveling. This is number one thing that I did before I was planning my trip. Just make sure that you are following the rules, because you don't want to get into any kind of trouble. And if you had hotels booked and tours booked, you don't want to incur that kind of expense. When I traveled this summer, we had long lines and airport backed up and canceled flights and delayed flights, and some airlines required masks. So it was a bit of a house with teens, never mind, but thank God they're old enough to understand that this is out of our control. So we need to kind of follow the rules so we don't get into any kind of trouble and we don't ruin our vacation together. So another thing that I did is I printed out everything. So when I say everything, I mean everything. Boarding passes, copy of their passports, any kind of tours that I booked, hotel reservations, what else? Like any kind of paperwork that you have pictures of in your phone, make sure you print it out, because you never know, internet can go down, your phone can break. I had a friend who was traveling from Croatia to Montreal, and he smashed his phone by accident, and he got into a whole other troubles because your vaccinations, if you are vaccinated, make sure you print everything and you have a hard copy. You as a parent, since you're traveling with teens, I trust my teens, but not to that degree to give them any kind of extra paperwork. They are actually asking to have their own passports, which is fair, you know, they're old enough. But I always have a copy with me just in case anything goes wrong. I know I can always get something done if I have a copy of their passport. So that's another rule that I really urge you to follow, is print everything out. Book your tours in advance, especially if you're going for the first time to a new country. Don't rely on just your knowledge or whatever research you did. It's always fun to listen some other perspective about the country. They're very nationalistic, I would say, at least Italy, where we went this summer. They know a lot about their country. They're very proud of their heritage. So if you book a tour, the guide is gonna actually, you know, tell you bits and pieces of history that internet might have not shown. So I urge you, at least one day you can book one tour or two and get your teens to put those headphones and actually listen. Buy local books if you get a chance. Get your teens to get familiarized with the country they're visiting. It's not only your job per se to, you know, educate them and talk to them and get tours for them. Make sure that they are to some degree familiar and have some kind of interest into learning about the country they're visiting, because that doesn't necessarily mean that you can afford yourself to travel with them every summer. So if they are there, they should really appreciate and feel like it's part of their journey as well to grow as people. They need to see other countries and they need to learn about other countries, because Europe has some of the oldest countries and their architecture is fantastic. It's something that they should really learn, and they can share that experience with their friends, or in general they can actually memorize it, and when they're older they can tell their children how they traveled with their parents. Don't spend too much money on extremely expensive restaurants. Children are going to be fine with just local trattorias, with just local food. You don't have to necessarily get them to try some, you know, fancy things or expensive places. They are just teenagers, and if your teenagers are like my teenagers, then they're gonna enjoy just local food, maybe even off the streets, or their local ice cream. So don't think that they're gonna remember the food. Most likely they're gonna remember the places, the history, the tours, and maybe just a little bit of gelato, because Italians do make the best gelatos. People are usually friendly when you travel, especially Eastern Europeans in warm countries. They are, they have their nap at noon for like an hour and a half. So they're much more disposed to talk to people, help them if you have any questions. Don't feel shy or take a step back. Approach people, ask for directions. Even teach your teens to do the same thing, so they're not like scared to talk to people on the street. So if you have any kind of questions, but still be polite, be respectful, don't mock them. They are a little bit more sensitive because you are a visitor in their country, and if you speak English, they're gonna get a little bit defensive at first. But generally, I found when I was traveling this summer that any country that we visited, people were warm and welcoming and helpful. Traveling is pretty expensive in 2022. Keep in mind of each country's currency, but if you're gonna travel in Europe, most of countries have the currency of euros, which is a bit higher than Canadian dollars, so you are gonna incur those extra expenses. Make sure that even if you're gonna be using your visa somewhere, cash is usually welcome, then you're not gonna be paying those transaction fees and those exchange rates when you're going to be using your visa. So if you get a chance to just use cash, by all means do it. If you are traveling with teens, that make sure they are included in everything you do, and they actually offer help with the luggage, with going up and down in the hotel. Like include them. It's their plans, and it's them having the same experience as you do. So they don't feel like you as a parent are doing everything and they're just there for the ride. They are, but make sure you include them. I did with my teens. They were very helpful with anything that we needed as a group, as a family. We stayed together and we helped each other. We used a lot public transport, which was really, really cool. It's very easy and straightforward to use. We traveled from Rome to Venice. We took a fast train. Again, be respectful, be aware of your surroundings, who you're sitting next to, so you're not like disturbing anyone. Just regular politeness, whatever you taught your children at home, it's much more welcomed in Europe. Make sure you bring a camera with you. It's extremely helpful. You don't want to take pictures just with your phone, even though your phone is taking good pictures. I'm sure it's the 21st century, everyone's phone is taking good pictures, but you don't want it to take all of that space, and it's kind of fun for your teens to be involved in all of this process while they're traveling. So my daughter, she loves taking pictures. We brought a camera, so she had a camera on her. She was like our videographer. She was taking pictures, she was taking short videos, and then when we got home, we just uploaded all of those pictures into our laptop, and we had a couple of nights where we were just sitting and flipping through them. It's a different kind of experience, and you don't want to get your phone all clogged up with all of those pictures, and then you need to move them to your computer. It's so much easier to have a camera. You don't have to get a super expensive camera, just a camera separately from your phone. It's really helpful. So it is fun to travel. It is an amazing experience. It does include some kind of hassle here and there, and it is an expense, but I would rather have this kind of an expense than purchase things that my teens are going to use for a couple of months and then throw them out. Same thing applies to buying them a new toy or a new device that they were going to use for a couple of months and then throw it out. This kind of an experience and these kind of memories are going to last and are going to stay with them. And this is such a great way of bonding with your children, because you never know what life is going to bring at them, and if they ever are going to have a chance to travel with you later on. So don't take that back, and don't feel like the money spent on traveling is money thrown in the wind. Any kind of experience, any kind of growth, personal growth for you and for them, it's going to teach you how to actually, get along together in a much smaller and concise environment, you and your teens. So I really do recommend, and I really do urge you to take that chance and to travel with your teens. Not when they're little, especially when they're older, because this is something they are really going to remember and cherish along the line. Thank you for following, and thank you for watching. Please do subscribe and see some of my other videos. I have another video about traveling with little children as opposed to teenagers. I hope you're gonna enjoy it, and I'll see you next time.